Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Content Crowd, where we explore what makes content resonate, from creative habits to POV shifts to behind the scene breakdowns, so that listeners and also me can learn how to stop mimicking and start making content that actually matters. I'm here with a super cool guy who goes by the name of Jakob Eliason. Jakob, thank you so much for being here. Let's just jump straight into what you do and who you are, because you're going to be able to describe it way better than I am.
No, man, I really appreciate you having me on here. I was just telling you before we hopped on that I'm in Minneapolis today. I'm sitting in a hotel room and I just had to sprint to it and beg them to get me in here early so that I wasn't taking this from a very loud hotel ballroom entry area, lobby, whatever you want to call it. So, but my name is Jakob. I'm originally from Arkansas, but now based out of Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm the co-founder and lots of other different roles for Pickleball Pop-Ups right now. And essentially what we do at Pickleball Pop-Up is we transform any empty space that doesn't have pickleball into a pickleball activation, whether that's for 1 day, 1 week, a month, or 10 years. You know, we can do totally permanent stuff, but a lot of what we do is very temporary. Like I'm in Minnesota right now where we have an event tomorrow at the Minneapolis Convention Center where a group of optometrists, thousands of optometrists are here, and they hired us to bring a pickleball court. And so that's a lot of my life, is setting up pickleball courts at big corporate events and other just large scale events like festivals and stuff like that. We've done a big barbecue festival, which was awesome. And so yeah, we just bounce around the country, going from event to event with the traveling pickleball court, basically.
That's incredible. I'm like, I've been so excited to ask you all these things because I'm really wondering, like, what's the logistics of that like? Like, how do you transport a pickleball court?
So most of the business is logistics. We recognized immediately if this thing was going to grow, it was going to be a logistics and operational company more than anything. And marketing and sales too, because that's the engine behind it is marketing and sales. But logistics, like our first full-time hire was my logistics, now operations director. And we got him out of a Fortune 500 company and he was running logistics, and we just knew. And so getting it around, we ship everything on pallets or in crates. And so we've got a few different courts that we use. So whether it's a pallet, whether it's a crate, whether it's 2 or 3 pallets, depends on what we're shipping. But typically, a 4x4 crate or a big pallet of some sort with a bunch of stuff stacked on top. And so the courts are modular and they are installed in big squares, both of the court styles we use. And so it can stack upwards where it can fit on the back of like a semi truck. So Sean, who's here with me, he's not in here, but that's why I keep pointing that way. Sean is my operations director. And so he handles, when do we have to ship this pallet or these pallets out to get them to this show on time, which is often different for every show. Some of them want you to get it a couple weeks before. Some of them want you to get it the day of. So there's a lot of precision involved. But I'm so glad to have him because that's not my lane. That is not my lane, but that's what the company is. So a lot of freight, like we have to ship everything by freight in the back of a big truck.
Are you guys able to do indoor and outdoor courts?
Yes.
Okay. That's awesome.
Indoor preferred. Like outdoor stuff can typically, like we were in San Diego about a month ago, and we were on like the terrace of the convention center there, which overlooks like the bay. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And so you get a lot of good scenic photo opportunities, video opportunities, content opportunities outside, but indoors is just like so much easier to do.
Yeah.
It's all the floors are flat, it's easy to work with.
So what about the branding? Because I know you mentioned like you brand the event or the pickleball. Is it the equipment or what exactly goes into branding this for the event?
We kind of brand what we can control. And so when you think about if I'm showing up with a pickleball court, then there's a few key components. There's the actual court, there's the net, and then there's like barriers that go around the court to keep the ball from rolling off everywhere. And recently we've added on like big, like 8 foot tall, 20 foot wide backstops onto the end of the courts to keep the balls from sailing. And we brand just like what we can bring. Like this one that we're at here, they did not pay for all the branding. So we're going to have the barriers, the branding, if you will, is going to be Pickleball Pop-Ups branded. When they don't pay for their own branding, we have like standard stuff. So we do the court, we can put decals down on the court for sponsor visibility. We can do them up on the net. Like if you've seen a tennis match or anything where there's like a sponsor on each side, we can do that. We do custom paddles for most events where everybody on the court's playing with a custom paddle.
Gotcha.
And then the backstops too. You can do custom balls, you can do towels and headbands. Like those are all things that kind of come in extra that some shows do and some don't. But typically we try to stay within like that 30 foot by 60 foot, what we're bringing. How do we brand each of those components or not brand them? And that's kind of how we wanted to design it. We can send it with or without branding and doesn't really change our operation much. You
mentioned that, to your knowledge, you guys are like the first dedicated brand to this, and I believe so too. I haven't found anything in prep for this, and I know that this could probably be a multi-hour conversation, but I'd love to know, like, how did you get to, like, not even thinking of the idea, but like once you had the idea, then it was like, how do you, and you've explained it's all logistics, how did you think of like, how are we going to transport all this stuff and put it together? Like you had to become pickleball court builder, tear down, experts overnight, essentially, right?
Yes. And it seems like it was overnight. I can promise you it wasn't. I'll just tell you the story because it wasn't, my business partner, Adam, and I did not set out to be the pickleball pop-up people. That was not the original plan. I was running a marketing agency at the time. And he and I had been golf buddies. He'd started losing a ton of weight playing pickleball, and he was just enjoying it way more than golf or working out or anything like that. And so he came to me. He knew that I was marketing, and he was just asking for my help to help him launch a pickleball club. He was just like, I want to open a pickleball facility in Memphis. You're the guy that I trust with marketing and branding and all of that. And, I want to know if you're interested in helping me out. And so instead of just being like, yeah, sure, here's my fee or my consulting fee or whatever, I just wanted to be in. I was like, I want to do this. And so I'm not doing the marketing agency. I just immediately kind of dropped that. And we went all in with Pickleball 901, which was that's when we launched, when everything happened, even when this business launched, the Pickleball Pop-Ups business, Pickleball 901, which is the Memphis area code. Was the facility. That's the brand we launched. And what happened, and this is what most people in the pickleball facility space are experiencing, is we started looking down the barrel of like 18 months. We were going to have to do all this bidding if we were going to transform the inside of this space, and it was going to cost like millions of dollars. And we were just like, this is going to take a long time, and we don't even know if we're going to be able to pull it off. What do we do? Because we've already told everybody that we're doing this. Like we are. And we do this with our business now. We are like, we will dive in and we will jump in and we will do whatever possible, but then we will respond to that appropriately and use that to guide our decision making. If it was a bad decision, we'll own it and we'll move on and we won't make that thing again. But we're very quick and we are very willing to commit to things and then and do everything we can to see it through. So this was one of those scenarios where we had already announced the pickleball facility. And then we were like, oh, wow, way more expensive than the first estimate and time and money. And so we were kind of in a stall period of just like, what do we do? One of my friends called me and he said, hey, me and my buddy are going out to the brewery, this place called Crosstown in Memphis. And I'm going to chalk out like some lines and I've got a little net. We're going to play some pickleball. Do you want to come? And of course, he already knew that we were launching this, and that's one of the reasons he asked me. But it just kind of like, in my head, the light bulb went off that I was like, oh my God, why would we just do one of those? Why don't we do 4 or 5 or 6 of those, take over their whole, like it just immediately the light bulb went off about this pickleball party. I called Adam. I was like, I can't come play, but I do have an idea. Can you introduce me to the owner of the brewery?
Yeah.
So he got me his contact info. I called my business partner. I told him the idea. And within like 20 minutes, we had purchased 4 of the portable pickleball courts that you see on a lot of our pictures and videos, the lime green and black ones, because that was our color. And so we purchased the courts before I got the yeses from the breweries to let us do it for free. Like that was one of the things, like I will bring this, we will do all of it. I just need your parking lot and I'll bring 500 people. Yeah. And they were like, done. And I got 5 of them to say yes immediately. And so within like 24 hours, we had what came to be known as the Pickleball 901 Summer Series planned. And it was like the first of its kind of anything. And the first one we did was on grass. We had this dance floor underneath it. I showed up at 7 a.m. and there was like 2 like flatbed trucks full of like decking to put underneath the courts. And I'm just like, what did we get ourselves into?
Yeah.
Like, this is way bigger than, like, I'm just like showing up in t-shirt and shorts, ready to like install this thing. And there's just like this entire team of people out here already doing stuff. And that was the moment where I realized that this thing was bigger than just like me and Adam running this. And like, we had figured something out, but it wasn't until 500 people showed up to that event, 500 people showed up to the next event, that we started looking at it and just being like, okay, conceptually, this is working. Like, we don't know what to do with it yet, but this is working. And we got, I mean, a lot of this has just been built on the back of just like good ideas from other people and good advice from other people. But someone approached us and they were just like, have you guys ever considered like being in the court rental business as opposed to, you know, being in the pickleball facility business, or even like the throwing your own parties? Like, think of it like a bouncy house is what someone told us. And that was kind of we built a financial model around that type of company. And even though we didn't like bouncy house model as far as business model, strategy, pricing, localized, we didn't like that. The business plan just looked way better. The numbers just looked way better. It was attractive. And so then kind of the next phase was we just had to test whether or not there was any viability for people to pay for. Breweries cannot pay the price that we have to pay, our cost even. Like, to come here, like, this is going to cost us $8,000 to do this whole thing here in Minneapolis. And to be paid for that and have margin, a brewery just can't do that. And so we started thinking about what the next step could be. And that the next kind of test was, well, what if we stand up a website? And so we thought about the name, Pickleball Pop-Ups. My naming philosophy is just like, call it what it is.
Yeah.
You know, like people push back about trademark, copyright, all that, because it's descriptive. And I was just like, well, if I call it something that's super cute that nobody can find on Google, then we're not going to get any business anyway, fellas. And so, you know, let's worry about the trademark and the copyright when I've got 10 competitors, because right now I don't. There's nobody doing this. And so that was we stood up a website called Pickleball Pop-Ups, because that was our best guess. It was our best guess at what people were calling it. We actually talked to we heard that at our events, like, hey, these Pickleball Pop-Ups are really cool. And they didn't even know that we didn't even have that. We just kind of used what we heard the market calling it, stood up a website, used all the videos from the events that we did for the facility for 901. And that is where the wheels started turning. And since then we've gotten probably 500 inbound leads since October 2023. And that's where most of our traffic comes from, is people they're searching for it on Google. Now, I mean, we've gotten 3 ChatGPT attributed self-reported attribution. Like, I found you on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
That's coming. We've closed a few deals from it, which is insane to think about. But here we are. But yeah, then it blew up. And so it was just like the marketing strategy. And that's when you reached out about this podcast, I was like, there's a good fit here, because the only reason this company exists was because of a good marketing plan. We had 2,000 plus email subscribers, contact list for our indoor facility that was not open within 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And so that was the plan. Like, do this big activation, make the ultimate lead magnet, free pickleball, beer right beside it. All you got to do is sign up and give me your name and phone and email and sign this waiver, and you have 20 minutes on the court.
Yeah.
And what we would do is we would engineer. We don't do this at our events now, but like through those, my strategy was to engineer a crowd, like to manufacture wait times. And we did that by only allowing like 15 to 20 minutes on the court at a time per group. And then you had to sign up. So there would be this line of like 50 people waiting to sign up for a time. And then not only were all the vendors that we had brought out there just like beside the line, so they could talk to them all, but then they had to sit around and wait for an hour and a half to 2 hours sometimes to play. And I get that. That's a long time to wait for 20 minutes of pickleball. But the novelty and the first of its kind thing, we don't go around and do those all the time in Memphis now because it wouldn't work, right?
Yeah.
So we used it for a specific purpose. And then we parlayed that into, this works. This same concept works really well at an event like a trade show where there's already 20,000 people here. And we can just drop this pickleball court in the middle of it, and everybody has the time of their lives. And so that's kind of the story. I know it's long-winded, but it's important.
No.
It all fits together.
I mean, you just gave somebody, like, if somebody goes back and listens to this and really takes the time, they just got like a mini masterclass in like go-to-market strategy, basically. Like, you identified a problem and you figured out the solution, and then you just started putting it into practice. I mean, that's oversimplified, but if you just listen back to this and wrote down like that, I appreciate you going through all those details, because that's important. Like, how you came up with the idea. Like, you didn't just say, I'm going to start a pickleball pop-up. Like, you had somebody like present an opportunity where there was maybe not a problem, but there was an opportunity to put something there. And then you're like, well, people are looking for some way to bring business to wherever they are.
Yep.
And, you can only, I mean, you can set up giant Jenga or whatever, but eventually, you've got to get something that people are wanting to come and do, otherwise people are going to go to the, if your rec, like pickleball courts are popping up all over rec centers and stuff, people are going to go spend the time at the rec center instead of at a brewery or a restaurant or whatever. So you identified that area and was like, like there's the stuff that these modular systems already exist. I've just got to get them there. Because really, I mean, at the end of the day, you're like you said, you're just kind of a logistics. It's like, yeah, you guys are a pickleball pop-up like company, but at the end of the day, it's like you guys have the fun, and the fun, people want the fun where they are. You've got to get it there. So I think I appreciate you going down that avenue, because that's like a super insightful like story for somebody to hear.
It's just all like, I think to me, when I think back to it, it just signals how important some random stuff can be.
Yeah.
And how like you never really know when some of this stuff is going to tie together. But like if I had not been in a mental state where I'm actively trying to figure out what marketing, what is the best path here, then, because it started, I didn't even say this then, it started, we were out at the public place and it was packed and it was hot. Yeah. And I think Adam said something to be like, man, if you rolled a beer truck up out here, it'd sell out. Yeah. And then we were like, what if we could figure out how to take pickleball to the beer truck? And then when he was like, come play with me at the brewery, it was like both of those folks, if I had not been at the park that night, that wouldn't have happened. If I hadn't known this guy for 9 years, that wouldn't have, and so it all plays together, and everything is important. And so it's like I just can't, I'm always on. And that's part of it, is I can't turn it off. My wife hates it, but I just can't. And that's just part of being a startup.
Yeah, it comes with the territory of working in marketing and stuff too. I feel like my wife hates me like tearing apart every billboard I see. I'm just like, see this.
Everything, every ad, commercials, all that stuff is just, it's different. I like watching.
Yeah, yeah, and you just kind of see opportunities that people don't like. Like I've had this like, it's kind of like a crazy idea, but I feel like it kind of like fits in kind of what you've done in like the community building. Like I would love to like buy a laundromat and just turn it into like a little bit nicer of a place, but find out where, like what time people are there the most, and figure out the most common people's schedule. Like you've got the night crew people coming there to wash clothes when they get off work possibly, and then you've got people after work, and I could just coordinate all of the local like food trucks and have them use my parking lot as a place. So you've got like breakfast or whatever for people. So I've kind of like been thinking about that in the same way that you're like, there's two things that people want in one place. Can I bring that there? It's not as exciting as pickleball, but I do think like, oh, it'd be cool to have like the local like hub at like this laundromat where people know consistently where the food trucks are and what they're serving. Yeah,
I certainly don't think that pickleball is cool, and being hot is part of why we're successful. But I think one of the things that I've learned is like, there's so many opportunities for people who are willing to do some work. Like we got to set up this court after 5 p.m. tonight. So like I'm gonna be on my hands and knees for a couple hours putting this thing together. And it's just like the fact that I'm willing to do that, and the fact that my team is willing to do that, that's what separates us. Yeah. Because anybody who's trying to compete with us, they go do one of these. Well, for the most part, they go do one of these, and then they're like, oh, not doing it again. Then they get real tired.
You mentioned like manufacturing the lines, but it seems like you would have a line no matter what. Like how do you manage like the waiting times to play?
So when we were launching it, we had the decision to make, free. It was free. We knew from the beginning these were going to be free pickleball. We did not, again, world's biggest lead magnet. And we were buying these portable courts. We didn't know what was going to happen. The playing on a portable, like interlocking tile pickleball court is totally not the same as going to your pickleball facility and playing. And we understood that, and we wanted to make sure that we set the right expectation. So free was step one. So then it was, okay, do we let people register in advance? Like, do we put signups up for courts and times? And, and I said, I know enough about marketing to know what happens when people sign up for free stuff. A very significant percentage will not show. And I don't want that. I don't want us to like center this around signups in advance and then 30 or 40% of those people not show up and this thing doesn't go well.
Yeah.
So the conclusion that we came to was that you had to show up before you could sign up. The only way you could sign the waiver was on site. And we even we tried to go like digital QR code waiver that we posted around, but then people were sending it to their friends and they were getting to sign up in advance and stuff. And so we went back to manual. Yeah. And so because we wanted to manufacture that. So that's ultimately what we did. So the party was from 12 to 8. The rule was you show up, you sign the waiver, and then you come up to this table where we had a bunch of pieces of paper for every hour in every court. And so we were able to put people's names in, and we had like a megaphone and a microphone, like announcing who was next. And so that's how we did it. But yeah, what we learned, that doesn't work if you're not already in a really cool, desirable area. So doing it at a brewery, doing it on Beale Street, which was really badass. Somewhere like that, you've got bars and restaurants and stuff around. So it's like, I can wait an hour and a half to play because I got all this stuff to do. We did one in just like the middle of a street outside a bank, and it didn't have the same effect.
Yeah.
It was much harder. And the bank was our sponsor. And so this was part of it. And it was still good. The courts were full all day, but the effect of, holy shit, this is a big event. This is a big fun party. It wasn't the same. That's why we try to focus on these trade shows and stuff, because this is a built-in audience. Like, I don't have to go and create a pickleball event and, invite people. These are already there. And that's our bread and butter. And so we learned that through that process is places where people are already going to go and already be, great spot to do it. Places where company parking lots, like we did an orthopedics hospital was a sponsor. And so we did one there. Same thing, like we can't have beer in the parking lot. And so like, that's the one event out of the entire series, there was no beer. And not that that's good or bad, but you could just see the results of it. And so, and kind of back to the point of like jumping in and doing it and kind of a masterclass, I think the biggest masterclass was on execution because we continued to execute, and then we would convene, we would listen to people, we would take feedback. Like, we wanted people to tell us what we could improve, because if you do something that's good enough to start and people want more of it, and you give them the floor or any opportunity to tell you, they're going to give you some feedback, man. And that's good. That's what you want. Like, even the bad stuff is not bad. Like, unless you do something really stupid, then it's bad. But like, even the bad feedback is just like room for improvement. And so we've done that all the time. And then that helped us by the time that we were done with our local Memphis stuff, those events, we knew we were ready for big time. We had a team that could travel. We had leadership. We had people that we could trust to send, like, without me. And so like, it's been a very, very iterative and engineer. Like, that's how my brain works. I'm like an engineer. I'm like, let's test this, let's learn from it, and then let's figure out what variable we need to change. And let's not like change 2 variables at once.
You're really laying out a wealth of information, like this, the execution, like just do it and kind of see what works. And then when people get feedback, take it, like, be humble about it and take it and iterate on it and test. And that's like, most people don't come up with an A+ idea right away. Like, it's probably like a C- or a B- or something, and you improve on it. And that's how you get something that people really like. Or otherwise, even if you sort of own the category, it would be easy for that category to die out, or at least you owning it, because you're not adapting and giving people what they actually want out of it,
Exactly. And that's what's important, man. And to the point, like, to the whole concept of your show and like what this is about, like, if I could boil down every piece of successful content or something or campaign to one thing, it's like, it's because we did the research. It's because we actually spent the time to understand what was wanted or being looked for, as opposed to what we wanted to do. Because, and I'll give you an example. Like, you can look at our Instagram page right now, which is not huge. And we don't even know if we need to make it huge, interestingly enough. But like, you can tell, even with a small audience, the content that we just make because like we think we need to make it because we want to be funny or just post something, it doesn't do well. But like, a cord installation of something we actually did, or like when I post a picture of what we do tomorrow, that's going to get a lot of engagement because that's what our audience actually wants. They just want to see more of these examples of what we can do. That's what's exciting. That's what's entertaining. And I think if more businesses actually like cared enough to talk to the people, to like talk to them, welcome feedback, ask them what they want to hear. Don't act like you know everything, because you don't, especially not about, hundreds or thousands of people's individual minds and how they work and what makes them tick. And so we haven't even figured that out on our ideal customer yet. Like, we're still trying to navigate some of those nuances in the psychographic side.
Yeah.
Because it's not just event planners. It's like sponsorship salespeople and executive directors. Like, it just varies. And we're trying to categorize all of these people so we can talk to them the right way and talk to them how they want to be talked to and not how we want to talk at them. And that's, to me, like, every single win I've ever had goes back to, like, there was good quality customer research, market research done on the front side.
Yeah. I kind of hope that that's what I'm getting from doing this. Like, I'm doing this live, and actually, like, the first 2 episodes, like, are just been released on like Spotify and podcasts. So those are like the more like, or Apple Podcasts. Those are like the more polished, but this is like, you're seeing this live. And if I mess up, like, you're going to see it. Or if I say something that somebody doesn't like, or if I haven't offended a guest yet, but I might, but that's kind of like, I'm getting that live. I'm just kind of opening up to getting that live feedback and figuring out what people like. Do people rather have our episodes cut at like 30 minutes? Do people want to hang out for more? Those kind of things. I'm getting that live feedback and kind of documenting like what I'm doing in a way that I'm hoping that it's not living in an echo chamber. It's not a polished podcast episode that I'm sending out to somebody and everybody's like, oh, that's awesome, I love it, because they're only seeing the sort of end result. They're people are watching live and giving me live feedback like this. And if you go back and watch the first few episodes, like, my intro has been changing. I'm trying to get better at doing it. I'm not pre-recording anything. So.
Well, no, it'll pay off. Hey, right before we got on here, you told me that you would listen to one of my episodes that I recorded 4 years ago. And so this stuff lives on, man. And so what we're working on now, like, I know the things that I'm doing now. I don't know whether or not pickleball pop-ups is going to be a thing in 10 years. If I'm going to be at the helm of it, I don't know. But I do know that the experience, like, now going into the next business venture, I'm just going to be even more dangerous, because I kind of came into this, like, definitely not knowing how to run an enterprise level company. And that's kind of what we're going to be. That's what we're on the brink of is, I went from kind of being self-employed to now I've got, between both our indoor facility that actually did open.
Yeah.
And,
so you did get the 901 is open?
Yeah. And there's like a whole second half of how that ties in with pickleball pop-ups. Basically,
Congrats.
the high quality courts that are temporary, portable, that we use on the road. We used that same stuff in the facility, which means that we didn't have to do permanent construction, which means that we didn't have to pay $1 million in renovations, which means we got cheaper rent, which means we were able to open quickly. And so, like, the pop-ups thing flew back, like this pendulum swung back to the indoor facility. And that knowledge that we have, because of what we know with these courts and temporary nature and even the business models and stuff, we were able to get that open quickly. And now that's paving the way to, our pipeline right now of just people who have reached out, who said, hey, I want to do my facility just like you guys did, because of this whole story, temporary nature of some stuff. We have 125 people in the pipeline that want to do that. And so, all looking at like, 20 to 30,000 square foot indoor spaces that they have in their cities. And they just need us for courts and install and materials. And so, like, that's kind of another arm that's open because of the club. Like, it's just all this big thing that works together. But unfortunately, I'm 2 or 3 degrees removed from the facility on a day-to-day basis. I'm in Minneapolis, about to play an event. And so we have a team of 10 or 12 people over there, and some of those people work over here with us. And then we got another team of 5, 6 on pop-ups full-time. And so, I went from self-employed to 25 mouths to feed. And there's a stress that comes with that at the beginning. And then it kind of turns into, once you figure out that it's possible and that you're able to, you've created something that can support that much growth. It's you kind of wake up every day hungry. Like, it's not stress anymore. It's like, we've proven our product market fit. Now let's take this to the moon.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. Congrats on getting
Thank
the
you.
the place open, and then I mean, people hearing about it. I mean, that's just like, I don't know if this ties into the like, one of the questions I asked was kind of like around your like rule that comes around to creating, but you mentioned like you can do quality and quantity at the same time, and so I don't know if that directly ties to that, but definitely you guys are sharing things. And you even mentioned earlier like some of the stuff that you tried the hardest on to make funny or whatever maybe wasn't the best performing, but the stuff that documenting
Yeah.
kind of what you're doing along the way is probably maybe less produced, but you're creating more of it, and it's means more to the audience. It's a higher quality. It kind of
Yeah.
balances out.
And I've got a few like interesting takes on this. The quality and quantity thing comes from, I did recruitment when I was in college, my fraternity, and they're kind of the North Star was we want the most best men.
Yeah.
And that was behind that was the quality and quantity of the type of guys that we want to recruit are not mutually exclusive. We can go get the most guys and they can also be the best. And so I've kind of layered that over into everything. And when I think about content and when I think about creation, like it can be both. And it's not because the average team is going to be able to produce a daily or 2 or 3 times a day video that's stellar, but like my strategy is when I put out a good piece of content, I'm less worried about the velocity in which I'm posting, and I'm more worried about the number of people that it can reach. And so when I have a good post, I just put ads behind it. That's like the best $50 I've ever spent, and it'll get 30, 40,000 impressions for 50, $60. And so that's my move. And so when I think about good content being able to be all the time, that's kind of where I lean, is because if I have a good piece of content that resonates, I have all of this technology at my fingertips to push that good non-advertising content in front of the right people. Because if it worked for the 100 or 100 or so event planners that follow me, then if I push it to 10,000 more, that's how I approach that. And that way my good content is always on to the right people for a very for a fraction of the cost. But the other angle that I take is and am I allowed to curse?
Yeah, you have already, but yeah, you can.
Okay. One of my marketing philosophies is make some fucking noise. And that's kind of why the event thing was just perfect, because I knew that if we did that, it was bigger than anything that we could do. We could do like an info webinar and get a lot of people on it, but like throwing this party, even if only one of them would just be hella noise that we could talk about for months. But I knew there's the other side of it. If you're going to make noise, you got to document it like that, because then it lives forever. If we would have not hired videographer, photographer, who's now full-time on our team, same guy. If we would have not hired Connor for that first video and we had not documented it in the specific way that I wanted it documented, we wouldn't have done it for the second one. And there wouldn't have been as much buzz. And the second one might not have happened. Certainly Pickleball pop-ups would not be here in the way it is. And so like make noise, document it, and don't stop doing that. Right? Like, because now we're making noise every time we walk in the building because we put a pickleball court in the middle of the trade show. And we still take pictures and we document it. And like the Bitcoin group, the sponsor liked our big barrier banner better than theirs. So they like took it and then we took it back and made a reel about it, And so like stuff like that does well because it's like real on-site stuff. It's authentic. But we're not out here trying to be just a content mega house, because I know the quality of our events that we put on are so good, we're so consistent that is enough. If I've got advertising and I know my ideal buyer, then like I can post every 3 or 4 days and it's okay. Like right now, Connor's been behind, he's been working on some stuff. So he's going to be pushing stuff out for every day, but I anticipate we're going to see the same thing. Like we're going to look back and the stuff that's like super authentic is going to be the stuff that worked. The stuff that we just had to manufacture, like content we just like created instead of captured, is going to be different. And so that doesn't translate nearly as well to a lot of different businesses. And so it's tough for me to give advice, but if I had to, for like an accountant who can't do anything cool, I would say, yes, you can. Throw an event and video it. Like you can do the same thing without the pickleball court. However, if you brought the pickleball court but it was your accounting party, then you're still going to get that same, like that's something really cool to do. And so events to me, whether it be a virtual event like this or a webinar that's like pre-signups or an in-person event. All three of those things are really great ways to create a bunch of high quality, entertaining, non-advertising content.
Yeah.
And so the more people are willing to do that, and the more they're willing to dig a little bit deeper into the math and not just be like, oh, an event's going to cost me like $3,500 to do this event. You know, if you think about the long tail of that and how long that cool event video or content may live and attract somebody, that's my strategy for probably until the end of time is use events as my very top of the funnel, get a lot of content from those events, and then that can push into my digital strategy.
You're, man, I think I need to have you on for like 10 more episodes, because you're saying so many things that I like, I want to use, but also things that are in a lot of ways, things that I say to our clients as well. But like, you said, if this resonates with 100, I think you said 100 event managers or planners, then I can, blow it up. I can boost it or whatever. And I love that you said 100, because I don't know if you go by this philosophy as well that I do, but it's like, I've always kind of lived by like, if you can't sell to 100 people, you can't sell to 1,000. And so like figure out, test, iterate, figure out what works so that you can get those 100, you can convert those 100 people and then go from there. So I love that you mentioned that, because you've got to like figure out what's going to work for them. And if something works really well for them, it's a good chance that that's what's worth putting money behind or whatever.
Because otherwise, if you don't know you've got product market fit, like if you're not selling something or talking about something that people are already actually wanting to buy, we happen to kind of get lucky that people were looking to buy and rent pickleball, but people look to rent all kinds of crazy stuff for conferences all the time. So it wasn't anything new. It was just like a new item. But so many people and businesses do this is they don't think about what people are already buying before they start promoting it. And it's because I see it all the time. I'll see an ad and I'm like, what is this? Somebody made this ad and spent a lot of money on it before they even had any validation that this was working. When we were in the marketing agency, we had kind of a three-phase thing when we worked with a lot of like digital first businesses, which is crazy. And that's where I learned about how successful virtual events could be and webinars and stuff. And it was very easy for me to be like, oh, physical event could like 10x this. And so we would work on a lot of people and they would like come and they'd have their course already created, and they're like, why is it not selling? I'm like, because nobody on earth is buying this already. Like you're selling like the most niche thing that doesn't even fall underneath the parent category. You haven't done any research to know what words they're using, like what problems they're actually having, like what are they thinking in their head, none of that stuff. And you can tell because the product doesn't solve anything. And that's the tough part that when I was in the world of digital first businesses, like creators and online courses and coaches, is just like, I just saw so many people that were trying to blow a bunch of money to solve problems that didn't exist. And I just, it's frustrating. If this is going to be antithetical to probably a lot of the viewers for here, but like, I don't think I will ever go back into a digital first business. I will like your point, laundromats, like that is like that business is going to succeed for the rest of the time until every single person has a laundry in their apartment. And that's not going to happen for a very long time. And so that compared to like high ticket coaching for your bad teenager. It's like there's one that you have to create a ton of demand for, and there's one that's already demand for. And that's another big thing I've learned is just like try to fall in line with the stuff that there's already demand for. Be unique. Find your blue ocean. That's cool. But like, don't go selling a category that that there is none of, and then expect your ads and content about that stuff to work. Like there still has to be supply and demand. Do
you have advice on how to, I assume it's probably, I know it's different depending on the product or the service. It's probably not something you can sort of like fast track, but if somebody is listening and they're like, well, we've been talking about this product and we want to run ads, how do you determine product fit before you start running ads for it?
You said it just a minute ago. You got to sell it to people.
Just sell it to people.
Yeah. I mean, you have to have enough. And for me, my kind of litmus test is, am I getting inbound leads for this? Are people, and that's that's how we knew we could scale this. I don't want to say scale this fast. That's how we knew this thing had legs, was because once we stood up a website that was capturing search engine visibility for pickleball court rentals, conference pickleball pop-up court. We started capturing that and getting inbound leads, and they were buying, and the sales cycle was quick. And it was just like, okay, this is either an anomaly and it's going to end in a month, and it's just a couple people. And that's just like the law of marketing.
Yeah.
You get a real good pop and then it goes down, and you got to figure that out.
Yeah.
But it kind of didn't. The only thing, we had a lull in like November, December during the holidays, not a ton of events. And we just didn't have like a strategy to fill that, like to find stuff to fill it. And so, but the leads they've never stopped.
Yeah.
I turned on Google ads, measured it, turned off Google ads, got more leads than when the Google ads were on.
Wow.
So we don't run Google ads because we've got search locked down a lot. And so that's what I'm looking for, is product market fit. And what I've learned about investors and what they're looking to invest in and throw money at is they want to know that there's product market fit. They want to know that if they put money on top of this, that it just goes, and they're not going to have to put money in, and then it's going to sit, and then they're going to have to like help you figure out what to do with it. Yeah. They're looking for product market fit, and that's how you can scale. Because once you've got people that are buying your thing consistently, and if you're in like a service-based business, retention is probably important. If they buy from you once and then they bail, and you're one and done with all your clients, you probably shouldn't go run ads for that. And so product market fit on the front end, retention, like those are two things. It's like, okay, if people are coming in and buying without me having to go sell them, and then they're paying for it again and bring me back next year because of the experience, we can run ads for this. We can start talking about it more. And we don't right now because we have such a high volume coming in that if I started running ads like crazy for rentals, if we got a bunch more leads, we would not be in a great spot, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, gotcha. It's just kind of like there's a diminishing returns at some point.
You can break a business by too many leads. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you've mentioned a few times, like in a way you got, I don't want to say lucky, because I mean, you've put in a ton of work, but you kind of mentioned like pickleball's hot right now. So there was fit for there. Are you guys like anticipating or like planning to add on like whatever the next thing is in a few years?
No, we are focused.
Just focus on pickleball.
We're going to stay in our lane. Pickleball it's small. It's court's 20 feet by 44 feet.
Yeah.
And so like you can fit it on a pallet. Like there's just never been a sport before that a bunch of people can gather around and watch.
Yeah.
A bunch of people can cycle through and play quickly. Ping pong maybe, but this is a different world.
Yeah.
Racquetball doesn't work like this. We've been beside a basketball goal, and that's cool. People just walk up and shoot, but it's just like, it's loud. It's a bunch of balls bouncing all over the place. There's no like organization to it. So pickleball is unique.
Yeah.
And that's why we think the shelf life on it is pretty long. There's about 33,000 trade shows in the United States. Our target list is the top 1,500. Mm-hmm. So, if I get 10% of that list over the next 5 years consistently, then 150, 250 events a year is going to be pretty insane.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's, we're going to stay focused. We get a lot of talk about doing overseas stuff. We get a lot of questions about, are we going to add on padel, or are we going to do, will we bring basketball? And as of right now, we are going to stay pickleball pop-ups, and we are just going to be like, we are trying to create it for a very specific purpose.
Yeah. That's cool. I agree with you on that. I mean, because I've seen like in my own town, like tennis courts being turned into pickleball courts, because you can put 2 pickleball courts on one tennis courts, and then expanding beyond that. Like they added, 100 courts to one of my local rec centers, and I still can't get into play. Like I think I've been able to play like 1 p.m. on a Tuesday one time, and that's kind of been it, because it's just always like, if you're not in like a league or something, like playing casually is kind of out. So there's definitely like, I've always wanted to play pickleball, but the paddles are, maybe they're priced a little higher. They're kind of outrageous right now, and I can't ever get to the court anyway. But if I go to an event or there's like a pop-up one somewhere, like I could be down to do that. Like there's low barrier to entry, and especially if I'm already there. Like
most of the folks who play like tomorrow, I'm going to assume that most people, 90% plus, are probably going to be new to pickleball.
Yeah.
Like most people that show up and play when we're at an activation are new to the game. Yeah. And so for us, that's a win for the game. That's a win for the entire sport. But that's also like, it just shows how accessible it is. Like anybody who's never played, no matter what age or athletic ability or skill level, jump out there and have like beat the hell out of the ball for 10 minutes and then like let their hair down, break a little sweat, and then smile and go to their next session. Like that's and it works every single time. It's a blast.
Dude, I think I've like, if I can just find out what events you're at, I can just like go around and interview the people that play. I think I could turn my podcast into like a pickleball interview show. Be like, just follow you around and hit up all your.
We've got that. That's on our roadmap actually.
Yeah.
Connor, one of the our marketing initiative this year is not necessarily figuring out how to fill more of the top of the funnel. It's how can I get 10 times as many leads per event, like at the event, using a giveaway or content like that. Like how can we invest in the actual event part and get 10 times more leads from those, which are like a $0 cost per acquisition. Like that's my goal, is how many leads can we get for free?
If you could find just like one like pretty good videographer and like turn all the videos into like a Red Bull style like parody after each one, that'd be kind of entertaining to watch. I feel like Red Bull's got it locked in on like silly sports, not that pickleball is silly, but if it's like you get people that's never played for the first time and they're definitely like there's some fumbles and some falls and stuff. I feel like that would be highly entertaining.
Yeah, Red Bull is great. It's amazing. They have such great content that never talks about their product, and that is, that's a much larger marketing case study. But that should be noticed. And that's, when I think about throwing a big event and pushing that content out and then putting ads behind it, it works because it's not an ad. It's more like Red Bull. It's like, here is a fun party. Look at this video of this fun party that just happens to be a pickleball party. And I'm not selling you something. I'm just showing you this. And then I show 1 million people that with an ad. Yeah. And a small percentage of those people say, I want that. That's all. That's the goal. It's like
selling an experience. Yeah. You're not selling
way more of an experience than it is just a pickleball court. Yeah.
Well, hey man, we're almost at the top of the hour. I've got to hit this last question because it's the question I ask everybody, but I want to know, what's the one hill that you will die on when it comes to content?
Well, first is, I already said it, make some noise, make a lot of noise and make good noise. But I actually fundamentally underneath that, it's like it's Gary V's document, don't create. Like when I first heard him say that, and I'm not like a Gary V worshiper. I don't even like watch his video. I don't even think I follow him, but like that specifically is something that I'll always carry with me. But the way that my mind works is I'm always thinking about, what am I documenting? And like that lines up with making some noise. Like if I can make noise and then document it, which I do think is what Gary Vee is doing. He's up on stage speaking in a lot of his videos, and that's what they cut. Or he's on a podcast like this. I consider this making noise. That's why I say yes to a lot of this stuff. If somebody asks me to speak on a stage, I'm going to say yes. But you got to document that when you're making noise, because that's the most important part. It's the most authentic, and that is going to get the most return. And so, kind of to my point about, you can look on our social media and see that the stuff that, like, when I create a stupid meme that I'm trying to just push out to try to get another 500 impressions, I get 2 people engage with it. When I put a picture of a pickleball court, I get 25, 10x as many. And that's because I'm documenting it. I just finished putting this court together. I took a picture of it. Doesn't this look great? And that's like all the posts. And it's just like, everyone's like, yes, it does. That's this awesome. Meme, is this funny? No, it's not. And so documenting, making noise and documenting it is kind of like my 2 things. If I don't have a plan for some type of event, which our company's centered around that now, I don't have to go create them. I just make sure we document them. But we had to start by coming up with something worthwhile to document, because, just like bumping in and out of other people's offices and being like, hey, what's your favorite color today? Office content, like there's a place for it, but that's not making noise. Yeah. Just posting a bunch of trendy reels on social media is not making noise. Like, you've got to really think about who the people you want to sell to. In our case, for the pop-up events, it was the local pickleball crowd. So like, let me do something to get how can I get all of them on an email list? So that I can just email them and make money. Yeah. Email them and tell them to buy programming, and email them to sign up for the tournament instead of post in a Facebook group. So, but now moving forward, we're looking at, part of our marketing strategy this year is figuring out what 5 to 10 free events, if you will, like we'll bring the court and we'll just do it without getting paid for it as marketing for us, because we know it works. And so that's what I would say is, like, if that is fundamentally what you're trying to do with your content, is you want to make a lot of noise, you have to document what you're doing, and you've got to create something worth documenting.
That's awesome, because we've talked about this whole time how to sort of I've teased it documenting it, but so I think this sort of ties it all back in. So hopefully somebody will go and do a replay on this and go back and be like, I got to go back and listen to all the times they said documenting and figure out how they were doing it and how I can do it. Yeah. So, well, thank you so much, Jacob. I truly appreciate you being on the show and knowing that you had to rush up to your hotel room to be able to come on here, man. Super great. And I just want everybody to know that I just saw a post of Jacob's and wasn't even, this is the first time I've talked to you. I just added you on LinkedIn and said, hey, this is a long shot. Will you be on my show? And you said yes. And here you are. So I always try to give people like some sort of like encouragement, like I'm doing the thing that I'm telling you to do, and it worked. And I've just learned so much from Jacob, and I've got so many ideas of things that I want to go do now. So,
well, the only thing you got to take now is like, you're not going to hit the shot if you don't take it. Right. Like it's impossible. And I know that's like a very cliche Michael Jordan, Wayne Scott, whatever.
Wayne Gretzky.
Gretzky. Yeah. But seriously, like you're like, that's a long shot. And I'm like, dude, this is just a DM. Like, this is, I'm just like, yeah, sure. So, but you've got to pull it if you want to hit it. And coming from a huge basketball fan here, I like to shoot.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And hopefully I'll have you on another episode. Maybe we can, I'd love to hear how the event's going. And also I want to know more about I'm not too far from Memphis. I might just have to pop into the pickleball court and check it out someday.
Do it. Just say the word, man.
All right, man.
You know where to find me.
I do. Thank you so much.